get to see you all they can. Well, tonight is going to be a Wednesday sound bath with a guided meditation, and I'm going to continue on the discussions I've been talking about for the last couple of weeks when we're talking about the structure of our spirit. That is the master class that's coming up next week. So I want to give you all some more enlightenment and understanding about the spirit, the structure of your spirit. Tonight we're going to talk about the different periods of time that we've gone through as we have evolved in the human race. So a lot of people don't understand that or why we're able to talk to anybody and the light of God come through them. Well, that's because right now we're in the new mysteries, in the period of the new mysteries. So we started off way back in the day. This is long before we were ever alive, or you probably even thought about. We were in the ancient mysteries of time, and I'll kind of break these down to you and give you an understanding of what they mean. But the ancient mysteries of time is when we were actually visited by God through different beings, different manifestations, and God was not in us. So therefore, in order for someone to understand and hear the light of God or experience the light of God or the voice of God, God had to come through something. And it could be a god, a goddess, a statue, something of a certain manifestation, which allowed us to step into the power of understanding the true essence of God. That was a long, long time ago. That was probably Stone Age, long time ago, like before humanity really became, I guess, civilized, if we didn't say civilized. Then we went from there to the mysteries of dissension. Now, the mysteries of dissension is when we were allowed to tap into other aspects of God. So God would come through high-level people, and God was able to tap into the source a little bit easier, tap into us so that we could get the messages, because more people needed to understand the essence of God. And then we went from the mysteries of dissension to the mysteries of ascension, and that's where most people, that comes into the Abraham period. So the mysteries of dissension were right before Abraham and at the beginning of Abraham. The mysteries of ascension came during the time of Abraham. During that time, God would come through only specific people. Shaman, come through high priest. He would come through signs and symbols, and this was taking signs and symbols from the previous time, previous period to the next level. So as we go through the signs and symbols, we would see a light of God that would come through something. So back in early time, and at the Old Testament, priests would go into a room to basically see if they were worthy of speaking the word of God. And so they would have to assume the light of God, and if they weren't pure, then the light of God would pretty much destroy them. So the priest had breastplates made of black obsidian, they had lapis lazuli on them, and they would go into this room, and they literally would have a chain to their foot, because when they went into the room, the other priest couldn't go in and get them out because the body was so electric. So what happens is, if the priest was worthy, then he received the light of God and he could speak the light of God or speak the word of God. If he was not worthy, then his soul was sent back. His physical body was destroyed. So that they had to literally pull him with a chain that was wrapped around his ankle to get his body out of the room, because the light of God was so powerful. That was coming out of the times of signs and symbols, and that was then going into high-level people that were of purity to speak the word of God. That's when we hear of the time of Yeshua coming onto the scene. Well, Yeshua then became the voice of God, and Yeshua basically sacrificed himself in his disconnection of God for humanity, so that God could be in all of human beings. And so now we're in the new mysteries right now, and this is where we're evolving into the state of the new mysteries, where now the light of God can come through anyone, anywhere, anytime, any place. So you could be in the store and talking to an ex-gangster that had probably taken many lives, and the light of God can literally come through. No, but the light of God can come through that being. The light of God can come through the lowest of the lowest and the highest of the highest. So now we have to understand everybody has the potential to tap into that God energy, and God will work through everyone. So that is the time period that we're in now. So as we're meditating, we're going to meditate on understanding and opening ourselves to listen to the signs, hear the words of God, to be open to receive from all of God's creatures. So that's what we're going to meditate on tonight. So it's going to open us up to literally bring more awareness into us, more light into our bodies, so that we can expand into these new mysteries and really awaken the God within us. Because that is our purpose at this point, is to awaken the God within ourselves. So as we're doing that, and learning and studying and meditating and praying, we're beginning to tap into that frequency, and our vibrations are beginning to raise. The more that our vibrations raise, the more things are going to change. And we're going to be here for some good time, probably for the next, I think, 8 to 12 years, I want to say. We're going to be in a space where phenomena will be happening. And once we come through that, we're going to have to be prepared as light workers to make an even bigger shift for the earth. So all that's coming in the next 12 years. So right now we're doing our work, and God is calling all of us to step forward into our path to be the enlightened angels that we are. So that's what we're going to meditate on tonight. Understanding the structure of our spirit and the times that we have come.